The ANC Women's League's conference has now reached its final day after a slow start on Friday. Voting for top leadership continued into the early hours of this morning. Attention has mostly been fixated on the presidential position previously occupied by Bathabile Dlamini. Her hopes of retaining that position may be dashed as she received the least branch nominations. She's trailing behind Sisisi, Tolashe and Thembeka Mchunu. Those results are expected sometime during this morning's plenary session. Let's take you live now to Newzroom, where this conference is being held. Bring in our reporter, Juniour Khumalo, who's been watching these developments for us. And I wonder, Juniour, what we should read into those nomination numbers. Bathabile Dlamini far trailing behind the two other people contesting that presidential position.
Good morning, Ayanda. Yes, Bathabile Dlamini is trailing behind following yesterday evening's nominations. As you may know, the nominations took place late yesterday. She received the least nominations, about 200 votes that she received yesterday. The front runner currently is Sisisi Tolashe. She received over 1,500 votes. And coming into this Women's League conference, she was suggested to be in charge and in the pole position to take over this position. But there's also Thembeka Mchunu, who's also taking part in the leadership to contest the presidency of the ANC Women's League. She also received more votes than Bathabile Dlamini. But the conference itself has been plagued by several delays. As you said earlier when you announced that the conference started late on Friday. Even yesterday there were several delays. The announcement for this top leadership was actually supposed to take place last night, but it is suggested that it's going to take place this morning. And then the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, is expected to deliver the closing remarks at this conference today.
Because of those delays, there'll be concerns, Junior, about whether or not conference will be able to wrap up on time today.
Definitely, there will be those concerns. We've seen this happen at the ANC's National Elective Conference in December, where the processes were not finished on the final day of the conference. It had to reconvene in January and conclude its processes. This has also happened with the Youth League last month, where we saw the Youth League also not completing its processes and only completing them virtually. So the suggestion here is that there might be a nomination for the National Executive of the Women's League, but the announcement might happen virtually at a later stage, Ayanda.
Yeah. What, if anything, can we actually take from the marathon briefings that we've seen so far? I mean, yesterday, one of those that stand out, of course, is from the Secretary General of the governing party, Mbalula, who had a mouthful to say, including, I suppose, remarks this morning that are making headlines around giving Pravin Gordhan some kind of ultimatum to fix the country's rail or find himself out of that position. I mean, it's the kind of comments, without a doubt, that are going to have a lot of reaction both from inside and outside the ANC.
Definitely. We've seen the ANC Secretary General take these opportunities to basically position the ANC in public and show it as a party that is definitely taking some action with regards to fixing ESCOM, with regards to fixing Transnet as well. So we saw him yesterday saying that he wants Pravin Gordhan to either fix Transnet or ship out. But the ANC has later changed its tone and said that it was just suggesting that its government deployees should be working towards fixing the challenges that are being faced by South Africans. Mbalula also qualified this by saying that a lot of parties are taking the ANC head on and suggesting that it hasn't done a lot to improve the lives of South Africans. And he seems to be taking it upon himself to try and change that narrative and showcase the ANC as a party that is doing a lot, especially leading up to next year's elections, Ayanda.
Yeah, without a doubt. Speaking about those elections, Junior, there's also this kind of double speak around whether or not the ANC is preparing for governance in coalition or for an outright majority. I mean, it was Baleka Mbete in her political report who mentioned this idea that the party should really prepare itself for an era of coalitions. Mbalula just a few hours later contradicting that, saying that they're planning to still stay in power with an outright majority. How did the ANC try to explain itself out of this double speak, if at all?
I am not sure how it's going to try and explain itself out of this doublespeak, but the top leadership of the party has maintained that its main focus is to go it alone and make sure that it remains in government. The ANC's Secretary General Mbalula has mentioned this, the President himself has mentioned this, but they are not oblivious of the fact that there might be a situation where they have to go into coalition. Hence, we have seen the Deputy President trying to speak to other political parties in Parliament and try and set up a policy around coalitions, because we've seen how unstable coalitions have become, especially in Joburg and in Tshwane as well. So I guess the ANC is trying to avoid that instability as it goes out and tries to get those votes that will ensure that it remains in government. And also the ANC's Women's League has been dubbed as the structure within the party that has brought the most votes for the ANC. So today, when the President delivers his closing address, we expect him to also encourage them to continue in this form and continue to get the votes for the ANC so that they do avoid going into coalition, Ayanda.
All right, Juniour Khumalo, watching developments for us at the conference, as well as the many other comments being made on the sidelines of this particular conference. Live to us there from Newzroom. For now, Juniour, thanks very much indeed.